Roji, here we have Professor Rajan Srivastav. He is the registrar of IIT BHU. And Professor Gyan Prakash Modi. He is from Mechanical Department, Professor. He is Professor Amaya from my department, Metallurgical. He is Professor Lakshmanan from Computer Science. Please complete. He is Professor Naidu from Electronics with his daughter. And Professor Omji Pandey from Mechanical. And Professor, he is Harsh, Professor from BHU, Management Science. And you know Vignesh Pro already. He's from Computer Science. Yeah. We have some girls from Girls Voice and this one. And many more are coming. Some more.
Talk always what I do in the beginning is to request each of them to say one or two words about their expectations about today's session. So they all can speak.
This will be the first interaction, so whatever you will actually say, that will be good for me. Thank you.
Same thing is here also. Just for the first time that I'll be listening to your wise words, and I think I am open to everything. So without any expectation, I'm just here to listen and grasp whatever comes in my way.
Yeah, I've read some verses of Bhagavad Gita here and there, but I'd love to get a learned perspective on that, like a person who has studied and thought about it and through designated parampara. I'd love to hear that.
Thank you.
I feel honored if I feel that it is a divine grace to be here. So whatever I hear from you, I'll try to apply to my life and improve myself.
So actually, I'm from IIT Kanpur, and there was a professor Lakshmidhar Behra. Professor Lakshmidhar.
Okay, you know him.
So,
Currently, he's the director of Mandi.
Yes, Mandi. So I
He
was
moved from Kanpur to Mandi now.
Exactly. So I was in touch. I'm also in touch with him, and as I came to know from my students that you are visiting today here, so I was very glad to listen to you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. You can also give to one professor behind you.
It's like it's very rare to meet such people who can speak on Bhagavad Gita. And Bhagavad Gita is like you read anytime new things will come up. So what is the starting point from a child and what's the advanced point if we continue? So it's like if it can be compressed.
Yes,
So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wishes to say any of you? Your expectation from today's session? You can give the mic to anybody else. Yes. He's already doing it.
I just came to hear from you, Prabhu.
You know Darshan, we know him now before. He's from Anantrachya. Yes. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurvanmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namavo Vishnupadaya Vishnuprasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyadehitarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So is my voice loud enough? You all can hear me? Yeah. So I'm very happy to be at the home of Deepak here. So Deepak was a student in NIT Suratkal, very meritorious student, and then he went all over the world for various presentations, seminars and conferences and studies also. And finally, he could come to Varanasi here, BHU, and he has been a very good speaker of Gita even in his college days. When he would learn, he would also go and speak to the students, many students. So, although he is playing a very humble role here as one of the colleagues here, if he opens his mouth, he can speak hours and hours. So, I'm very happy to be at his house. Happens in a very where there is going to be a big war between the virtue and the vice, dharma and adharma. And the Lord of Dharma, Lord Sri Krishna, is present in the war along with Arjuna in the chariot. And so many life lessons you will learn from Lord Krishna when you observe his behavior with Arjuna. You will see in the beginning of the battle, Arjuna requested Lord Krishna, take my chariot in between the two armies, he said. Senayor Bayor Madhye Ratam Stapayame Yavadetan Niriksheham Yodukamanavastitan. He's saying, take my chariot, Krishna, in between both the armies. Let me see who are all poised to fight on either side. So he finds some of his relatives on this side, some of the other relatives on this side, both sides. And Lord Krishna is taking his chariot. He is not speaking anything, Lord Krishna, in the beginning. He is just silently observing Arjuna. Only one thing that Lord Krishna did was, he was mildly smiling, because he knew very soon this person is going to cry now, after seeing both the armies. And Arjuna, of course, cried, and he gave several reasons why he will not fight the battle. So, and as he spoke up, Krishna heard all of those reasons patiently, without speaking a word. And after finishing everything, Arjuna finally said, I know that these people on the other side, they are all on the side of adharma, and we are fighting on the side of dharma. So it's my duty to fight. At the same time, I am feeling very weak to take up this war. Should I win them or win over them, or should I lose myself? Or should I, he said one famous verse where he says, Na chaitat vidmak kataranno gariyo yadva jayema yadivano jayeyo jane vahatvarta jiji vishamasti vastita pramukhe dhartarashtra. Is saying that, should I be conquered by them or should I conquer them? Should I defeat them or be defeated by them? So, I am totally confused, Krishna. Intuitively, I know it is right duty of a warrior to subdue the evil and protect the righteous. It's my duty. But somehow, I am not having the strength, he says. And then he collapses and then he accepts Krishna as the Guru. Here comes a very interesting point. Until Arjuna accepted Krishna as a Guru, Krishna did not speak. Until Arjuna hired Krishna, he did not speak. So one lesson we can learn in our life is that unless we are hired, we don't give instruction to anybody, because instruction will fall on deaf ears. So many times parents, they wonder why that teenage children don't listen to us. Despite our repeatedly telling them, they just don't listen. Many parents have the question. Of course, when you have a small baby, it's a very joyful thing. Up to the age of maybe 10 or 12 or 13, something like that. Afterwards, the children want independence, freedom, and oftentimes they listen to peers more. They listen to peers more than superiors. They feel enough of hearing from parents now. They feel like that. So, when we have to give any good instruction, only when we are hired, then our instruction will be received gratefully. Otherwise, therefore Lord Krishna knew everything, but he did not speak. The beginning of the battle, he was waiting for Arjuna to hire him. Now, not only that, it is said you should hear in such a way that people will speak to you, or you should speak in such a way that people will hear to you. So that goes to show Krishna was a very good listener in the beginning. He listened with both his ears, like God has given us 2 ears and 1 mouth, so it listened well and then speak less. So those who are good listeners can get focus. So Krishna listened well and then he spoke up the whole Gita. And then when he spoke Gita, Arjuna did not counteract. He heard it all very well. And Arjuna became enlightened, you will see that. So, sometimes have you seen in a family 2 people standing next to each other and loudly shouting? I used to wonder why 2 people should sit standing so near, why should they shout? Other person can easily hear. But why they shout? They are physically near, but emotionally having a big gap. Don't you understand what I am saying? And the other person says, I am saying the same thing to you. So they raise the tone in a high voice because both are shutting their ears to one another. When 2 people shut their ears to one another, they are refusing to listen, the other person becomes very angry with them. So in our life, if we face such a predicament anytime, we should think about Lord Krishna. Because you will see that Lord Krishna, without speaking a word, made Arjuna speak so much. And then when he began speaking, Arjuna didn't speak a word. He was willing to listen. You will see that. So, in this way, this is one lesson I am telling you in the beginning. I can tell you many lessons. One more lesson I will tell you. You know, Arjuna was weeping in the beginning of the Gita. So, crying Arjuna became confident Arjuna at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, you will see. Yeah. The demotivated Arjuna became motivated Arjuna at the end of the battle. You will see that. Yeah. You know, the weak-hearted Arjuna became, very strong-willed Arjuna. So, what is that knowledge that Krishna gave him that made Arjuna have a change of heart? See, this change of heart is actually the sum and substance of education. Generally, the word education, if you see where it comes from the Greek word educare. Educare means not impose anything on the head of anybody, but bring out something that is already within somebody. That's called educare, we call it. Just like if you say in the villages, they have this red hot coal, over that they put some ashes. In the morning, after finishing the use of the red hot coal, they put some ashes on the top. And they keep it as it is in the stove. In the evening, they take off the ashes and again they use it. And the coal remains as it is, it doesn't get consumed. So just like if somebody puts the finger inside, it will be very hot because the red hot coal. Similarly, education means something is already within you and you bring it out rather than, add anything to anybody. So that is called education. So what is that knowledge that is within us that you bring about? That I'll tell you in a very simple terms, I will tell you. Say if there is a rainwater coming from the sky, the rainwater is very pure, but when it touches the ground, it becomes muddy. Again, you can reinstate it in its original purity. Similarly, the soul or Atman, as we say in the Gita, or Krishna taught him, is originally pure, but it is covered by some impurity. It's called the mind, we call it. Mind carries the impurity. So body, mind, soul. Soul is the real you, and the mind is the covering over the soul, and the body is covering over the mind. Just like, for example, sometimes we wear a shirt outside and a banian inside, and then the body is inside. Similarly, the soul is like the innermost body, and then you have 2 coverings, mind and the body. So now mind and the body are the 2 equipments the soul has. Mind is for storing your desires, and the body is for giving shape to those desires. Or we can say the mind is like a microprocessor, and the body is like servo motor. So here you store the desires, here you execute. For example, in my mind I have a desire to play piano, for example. And with the hands I will play a piano. So the hands and legs are used for executing my desires stored in the mind. Is that clear to everybody? Krishna taught that. And he told Arjuna, you are not the body, you are the soul. That's the very first knowledge he taught him. And he also told him, even all these people in the battlefield, everybody is their respective souls. None of them are their bodies. The difference between body and the soul is, he said, the soul cannot be cut by scissor. The soul cannot be burned by fire. The soul cannot be moistened by water. It cannot be dried by air, he said. But covering the soul is the mind, which can be pure or impure, depending on what inputs we give to the mind. For example, all of us here, since childhood, we have been brought up by parents in a certain way, and also by teachers in a certain way, grandparents in a certain way. The kind of books or novels we have read, the movies we have watched, the friendships we kept, the songs we have sung, and the lifestyle we have led, and the experiences we have undergone. All these things have made up our personality, and therefore we are what we are now. The personality, all this is made up. For example, in my school days, my friends were going to see one movie called The Exorcist, one movie. I was also about to go with them. But other friends told me that, hey, don't go for this movie. It's a ghost movie. And if you see this movie, you will be afraid for 2 decades. They said. Of course, I didn't go to that movie. But my other friends who went to the movie, when they came back, my Lord, many of them would come and tell me they would have nightmares in the night. Sometimes they would see a skeleton laughing in the window. All that is because that kind of input they gave to the head. And that's called a GIGO principle, we call it. Good in, good out. Garbage in, garbage out. Whatever we give. In America, one fellow wrote a book, a detective novel he wrote, See, many people write very thrilling novels, He wrote a detective novel. So in that he gave some 10 ideas on how to loot a bank. How some thieves are looting a bank. Later on, when the book was published, in America, several parts of America, banks were looted. And then they found that the ideas from the book were utilized by the thieves. And the book was immediately banned after that. But why am I telling you? People not only read books and novels, they also implement what they read from that. That means whatever you put in the head, we tend to implement it. So if you put pure things, we will act purely. And if we are going to put impure things, we will act impurely. Like why is it that 2 boys we find, one boy is taking agarbatti and showing to Lord. Another boy with the same hand is smoking a cigarette. Isn't it? One is a pure smoke, another is impure smoke. Why? Because one has given an pure input, so he feels like worshipping the Lord. Another one has got an impure input, so he is smoking. You will see that. So, therefore, the inputs we give become all important. In one of the tests they conducted for the children, small children, less than 5-year-old. For those children, they conducted a kind of test. In a room, they put a lot of toys. So, in one end of the room, they had kept a plastic knife. The child went and picked up that knife and went to the other end of the room where there's the teddy bear. And started like this, killing the teddy bear, like this, hitting it in the belly. Now, how did this child learn this? Because the children watch the TV screen. So they say that thousands of murder scenes are seen by children who are watching TV screens. Mothers put on the TV and go away to the kitchen so that, they can be free from the child. But the child, whatever unconsciously they are absorbing, they don't even speak much, 5-year-old children, but they have seen some things which has become registered in their mind and they are just copying it. And so they have seen somebody killing like this, so they are also killing. Can you imagine? So what are we giving our children is very important. What are we going to teach our children? And accordingly, the children are going to behave in future. Like for example, if they see you bowing down in front of the Lord, then they will also bow down. If they use clapping hands and singing, they will also sing. If they see you reciting shlokas, they also recite shlokas. If they see the parents watching a Bollywood, Hollywood movie, they will also watch Bollywood movie. If the son sees the father smoking or drinking, then he will also do the same. You will see that. Basically, for children, more things are caught than taught. It is said. You may tell the child that you do what I am telling you. They will not listen to you. They will do what you do. That's more easy for them. It comes. So, any parent who wants to teach the child some good thing, the best way to teach them is to do it oneself. And then they just copy you. He watches you. I've seen many temples, parents come, the father bows down, child also bows down. Father gets up, and he's watching the boy. Father is doing this, he also doing like this. That's how they learn, many of the children like that. So, I was telling you that how the mind becomes pure or impure is by the 5 sensory inputs, like eyes, nose, ears, tongue, and skin. Like when you're walking on the road, you see some poster, eyes capture and put it in the mind. Ears hear some nice song, then you hear it and put it in the mind. So all the 5 sensory inputs are given to the mind. Shrotam, Chakshus, Sparshanam, Rasanam, Granam, Evata, Adhishtaya, Manashtayam, Vishayan, Upasevate. But Krishna says that mind stores these impressions, sanskaras, what we receive from these 5 senses. So if you give pure inputs, then your mind becomes pure. If you give impure inputs, mind becomes impure. Now if I ask all of you, what have we given, pure or impure? Naturally, everyone will agree that we have given a combination of the two. You all agree? Yeah. So, because we have a combination of the two, we are also made up of 2 types of tendencies in that. We call it as there's a angel within us, there's an animal within us. So in Gita, Lord Krishna talks about angel and animal in the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, divine and the demoniac. And he says we should bring out the angel-like qualities out of us. And the animal-like qualities will be driven out. So how do we do that? He says that, and for that you have to design your life, not allow your life to go by default. See, in this world you will find the default option means degradation. And the design means you have to, for example, in the garden, when you trim the plants, then they look very neat and clean. Correct, no? Otherwise, you allow them to grow in all directions. They have no direction. They're unkempt garden you have seen. Correct, no? When you neatly trimmed, they look very elegant looking. Isn't it? So, which means your garden is a designed garden. It's not by default. You are not allowed things. Okay, let us take a few examples. Take the traffic, for example. Should there be a traffic policeman, or let all the traffic be allowed to go the way they want? What do you think? Yeah? Is there a need of a traffic policeman, or there is no need of traffic policeman? Yeah. Yeah? Okay, in case there is no traffic policeman, what is likely to happen? Any of you can tell me? Any of you? Yeah. What is likely to happen? Yeah. One is accident is one possibility. Traffic jam. That's one jam which we don't like, isn't it? There can be a traffic jam, there can be accident. That means there is a need of a traffic policeman to design the movement of the traffic. So we have to design the movement of the traffic. Similarly, you have to design the garden also. Similarly, when it comes to the flow of water, for example, like some years ago in Kandla, there was a flood. So if you see the flood has tremendous kinetic energy. It has tremendous energy. But the problem with the flood is it cannot do any good. Flood cannot do good. Because you will see the flood is going to kill the people. The flood is going to kill the cattle. Or the flood is going to, drown people. Correct, no? It cannot do anything constructive. The flood cannot do anything constructive. But if you want something constructive work done by the water, you have to design the movement of the water. How do you do that? You put some barriers, like the water has 3 barricades. One is like when we all are growing in our life, also the parents, the teachers, and God. If you put 3 restrictions, then only children come up well. If there are no restrictions, so it's like a dam. Which has energy? Tell me. Dam has energy or flood has energy? Which one has got energy? Both have energy. So you should not answer. You know everything. I want them to answer. You are a old devotee from NIT Trichy there. Let them think the answer. Huh? Which has energy? Flood has energy. What about dam? Dam has no energy. Yeah, what energy is dam energy? Potential energy. And flood has kinetic energy. So now, when a dam stores water, you can release the water little by little whenever you want for irrigation purposes. Correct? No? Similarly, if your mind is harnessed and then you design the activity of the mind, how the mind should act and how it should not act, then your mind is like a dam. You think and then you use the mind. You don't act spontaneously or sporadically. You don't act like that. You think. So, most people in this world don't think before they speak, or they don't think before they act. There's a saying in English, the spilt milk and the broken glass and the spoken words or the sped arrow cannot be taken back. It is a. So, in Gita, Lord Krishna teaches how the impure mind should be subdued by a higher self called as intelligence. Till now, I have only told you two things. You have a mind, you have a body. The mind is for storing the desires, and the body is for giving shape to the desires. The soul is the permanent person, imperishable person, who has these two commodities, I told you. But now I have added one more new thing in this understanding, which is intelligence. So there is intelligence, there is mind and senses. See, intelligence is like a husband. Mind is like a wife. Senses are like children. Now, say for example, the children are going to the shop and saying, Mama, Mama, I want cocoa chocolate, they are crying. Then the mother tells the husband, please get some money. Children want cocoa chocolate. And the husband says, already our son has been eating cocoa chocolate, his 2 teeth are gone. Do you want the other teeth to go? Then the wife says, it's not very good. It's not good for him to eat. Then the husband says, tell him you cannot get. Then he tells the child, hey, better you cannot get this. Better you take orange or better you take a banana. Correct, no? And then the boy is throwing away. No, I want only that. He's very adamant. Again the mother is saying, but the son is crying, what to do? Then the husband says, you give him to me, I'll take care. So he purchases some toy or something and gives him, and he doesn't allow the child to eat the bad thing. Correct, no? So in this way, husband tells the wife and wife tells the children. Similarly, intelligence, mind and senses. So in Kathopanishad and Mundakopanishad, this example is given of chariot of the body. The 5 senses are compared to 5 horses. And the ropes of the horses is compared to the mind. The ropes of the horses. And the driver is compared to the intelligence. So driver is intelligence, mind is the ropes, and the senses are the horse. Another example I gave you, intelligence is like the husband, mind is like the wife, senses are like children. So in the horse analogy, can any of you guess what I am going to tell you? See, in the horse analogy I told you, horses are senses, ropes are the mind, and the driver is intelligence, and the passenger is you, soul. Soul is the passenger. You are sitting in the, now you are sitting in the chariot. Can any of you think of why this chariot of the body analogy is given? What lesson you could derive from it? Is the analogy clear? Is it clear? Yeah. Anybody want to give a try? Any of you? Correct. Yeah. Correct. Indriya खींच लेके जाते हैं. So Indriyas are like the 5 horses. Mind is ropes, intelligence is driver, and the passenger is the soul, Atman, sitting. So from this analogy, what we can understand? हमको क्या करना पड़ेगा हमको? Control कैसे किया जाए? As your mind has to control the horses. But above the mind is intelligence, driver, because driver is the one holding the ropes. So the driver has to be a weak driver or a strong driver. What do you think? Yeah. That means if our intelligence is strong, then it can control the mind and senses. If intelligence is weak, then mind and senses will take over. You understand the point? No? So, one example I'll tell you. In America, one fellow was going on a scooter and he was wearing a cap. Now, when he was speeding up in the scooter, suddenly the cap flew off. Now, he was looking at the cap and, he stopped the vehicle and started running after the cap. At that time, many cars were going, zoom, 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 very fastly. So should he, if he is, for example, if he is going by the mind is telling, hey, cap is falling on the ground, pick it up. Like the mind is saying. But the intelligence is saying, but many cars are going back and forth. Before you can go and pick up the cab, you have to see both sides of the road. Correct, no? So otherwise, you may not even reach the cab. You may die. So if he is driven by his mind, will he focus on the cars or on the cab? Who can say? Any of you? If he is driven by his impulses of the mind, will he run after the cab or will he see the cars coming on either side? Cab, yeah, correct. And if he is guided by the intelligence, what he will do? Yeah. What he will do? What he will do? He'll see the cars. So because he knows that cap is not as important. Cap is not very important. Cap is a small thing. Life is more important. So he will look for the cars. So in our life, we want to be guided by intelligence, by the maturity of our intelligence, or by the impulses of the mind. The mind goes by instinct. Intelligence goes by reason. Yeah. Mind goes by immediate pleasure. Say, for example, if I show a 500 rupee note and I also show you a chocolate, which one will you take? So if you ask him, what's your good name? Okay, Abhigna Bandari. I show you a 500 rupee note and a chocolate. Which one will you take? Any one? Chocolate. See, a child will take chocolate. And many of you grown-ups, which one will you take? 500 rupee note. Why? Because inside 500 rupee note, there are 500 chocolates. You know that. Correct, no? So, that means if you go by the mind wants which one? Chocolate or the 500 rupee note? Chocolate. And intelligence goes by reason. I may not get to eat the chocolate immediately, but if I wait patiently, the 500 rupee note can get me chocolate for 500 days. One eats. So in this way, thank you for your brilliant answer. That's what we wanted. We made the day today. So children naturally want something instant. That's very natural for them. If you ask any child, like in Pune, I asked our school children, how many days in a week we should give you holidays? I asked our Bhaktivedanta model school we have in Pune. How many days we should give holidays? So there are 2-3 kids, they said for all 7 days you give holiday. They can play all day. That's what they said. Children, because they don't know about the importance of studies. Parents know about the importance of studies. Parents tell the children, study. And children say, I want to play, they say. Right now. So mind goes by instinct and intelligence goes by reason. There's a tug of war between the two. Many times you will see that. Say for example, say you have a job where you have to work only about 10 hours a day. And you are getting X amount of money. And if you apply for another job, that gives you 2x amount of money. But you have to work 16 hours a day. So most people will go for which job you feel nowadays? They will go for X amount of salary or 2x. Of course, you may go for X. Which means you are happy with the X amount of salary. If another job can give 2x for 16 hours. So, if somebody goes by mind, which job will they choose? 2x, correct? Because double the salary. Like, I remember in Pune, one boy, in those days, if somebody was getting 45,000 means not ordinary thing. Now it's like 4.5 lakhs now, per month like that. So in those days, one boy was earning 45,000. His company told him, see, you are working for 12 hours. Add 2 more hours, make it 14 hours, we will give you a round number of 50,000. They told him. He came back and asked the wife what we should do. He's saying, just add 2 more hours. She said, oh, very good. Round number, 50. 50K is very good. He said, go ahead. So he started working 14 hours a day. 14 to 15 hours a day. Very soon he started getting stiff neck and back pain and ulcers in the mouth, indigestion and everything. He went to the doctor. Every month he spent 5,000 rupees. So did he earn any extra money? Did he gain anything? Yeah, definitely he gained the neck pain. Neck pain, back pain, stomach disorder and everything. Correct? No? So, but why people would go for 2x salary and not X amount of salary? Although they have to work for 16 hours a day, because At that time, they become very money-minded, and they are not able to think the long-term repercussions and long-term consequences of, going for a long duration hour job. Because they don't know that they will not be able to give family time. They won't be able to give time to their children. They won't be able to give time to their health. When IT people, many people are working 16 hours a day nowadays. Correct or not? Correct, no? You can see that, isn't it? We all are in teaching. Teaching is a very noble job. Teaching is much more noble and cool. You can work 10 hours and you can have time for everything. But outside the world, people slog like 16 hours sometimes, oftentimes. We have seen that. So, therefore, the choices you make should be based on intelligence, not on the mind. Mind goes by instant pleasure, mind wants. But intelligence goes by reason. Intelligence means look before you leap. But mind means first you do it and then you realize the mistake. Oh, I did it. I did this mistake. I have to be careful. I have been very careless. So, Lord Krishna teaches in the Gita how the mind is covering the soul, and covering the mind is this body which you see in the mirror. So what you see in the mirror is not the real you, he says. That is actually a dress over the soul, he says. Just like today you are all wearing one dress, tomorrow you will wear another dress, isn't it? Similarly, the soul changes the body, he says. When you die, the body remains on the ground. People take that body to the crematorium, correct, no? But the soul comes out along with the mind. And the mind has the impurities. And the mind has all the inputs we have supplied through our senses all these years. So that mind may, it's like, imagine like this white bulb now is giving out white light. If I put yellow paper over it, it will look yellow light. If you put red over it, it will look red light. If you put black paper over it, it will look black. Correct now? Similarly, Lord Krishna says there are three gunas he teaches in Bhagavad Gita: Tamoguna, Rajoguna, and Sattoguna. Tamoguna is like black, Rajoguna is red, yellow guna is Sattoguna is yellow. So I'll tell you a little bit about each of this. As soon as the mind is covered by one of these three colors, our behavior becomes erratic and different. For example, if somebody is covered by Tamoguna, they become three things Krishna says: Nidra, Alasya, Pramad. They sleep too much. They sleep 12 hours a day. And Alasya means they're always lazy and lethargic. And Pramad means they're mad. They put bad substances into the body like smoking or drinking or such kinds of things they do, like that. So drugs and other things. They actually put harmful substances into the body. So, and these people in Tamoguna, I told you, the black, I told you, these people are always depressed and they feel lonely, they feel insecure, they feel confused and bewildered, indecisive. These kind of things are Tamoguna. Panicky, like that. And Rajoguna people, like red color, I told you. So these people they have too much competitive drive. They're over ambitious. They won't mind climbing on the head of others to climb the ladder of success in their lives. And they always are greedy and they make unhealthy comparisons. And they are individual players. They cannot play in a team of people. They want to be a hero and they want the whole world to applaud for them. Like that. They want to be outstanding. And they don't care a fig about others. They're extremely selfish in nature. So these are passionate people. Rajoguna. So Tamoguna, Rajoguna, I told you. And Sattvaguna, okay, I'll tell you one animal also you can remember. For Tamoguna, you can think of the fox. Fox is an insecure creature. Like when I was studying in my college days, we used to go like this, the main road, and take left like this. But there is a hypotenuse. We can go another road through the jungle. That used to be a what do you call it? Eucalyptus jungle. So I used to go through that in my cycle instead of going in the main road. So one day I was coming in the night about 7 o'clock. It was getting darker. I was coming. One village man told me, "Hey, it's very dangerous for you to come in this road." He said. I asked why. He said the foxes are out by 7. And these foxes, if they see somebody coming the opposite to them, even if those people don't harm them also, Still the foxes will pass urine on the sand, mix it and hit them on their eyes. And if they hit, you will become blind. He was telling. So he said, quickly go, don't come late, he said. Then he asked that fellow, why the foxes do like this? I am just cycling and going my way and fox can go his way. He said, no, foxes are insecure creatures. They will imagine that you will harm them. So they will mix the urine and they will hit on their faces. Similarly, you will find in this world, if you succeed in life, some people become insecure about you and they try to trouble you. You've seen this world? Correct, no? People cannot keep quiet. Like if somebody is incompetent, he is here. A competent person is going here. And this person will think, either I should pull this fellow here or I should somehow go to his level. You understand what I am saying? These are tamoguni people. Like you see Duryodhana and Shakuni. So this kind of planning they do. And then you see Rajoguni people are like a lion. The lion is an individual player. You can see that lion doesn't like to play in a team with anybody. They want to be king of the jungle. But ants, you will see, always they move in a row. You have seen that? They are very good team players. Ants are good team players. Whereas the lion is an individual player. Tiger, individual player. And very ambitious. And they want to be in multiple clubs. I am a member of this club. I am president of that club, this club. I am known to so many people. So they have a tendency to socialize for the sake of popularity and things like that. So what is the problem with this? In passion, they don't think before they decide. One example I'll tell you. Once a man went for a short trip to a forest on the horseback. When he went on the top of the horse, he also took his dog with him. So he spent some time in the jungle under a tree and he ate his food, drank the water, everything. And then he climbed up on the horse. He was planning to come back. But then the dog was barking. And the dog was going like this and not letting him proceed ahead. And he was wondering why the dog is doing like this. He thought the dog has gone berserk. He took his gun, just shot the dog. And then he went ahead. After a mile, he realized that his wallet was missing. When he went back, sure enough, it was lying under the root of the tree. And the dog was touching the wallet, and with a bleeding mouth, the dog had died. So he picked up the wallet and opened it and saw the money was safe. He put it in his pocket. And then he shook the dog and he sprinkled water on the face of the dog. Do you think the dog would get up? It was too late. So passionate people always make snap decisions. They make snap decisions. They don't think twice before they act like that. And Sattva-guna people, they are always thoughtful people. They have very calm, clear and creative thinking. They think twice before they act. One example I'll tell you. Newton had one dog called Jimmy. So one day, Newton, generally when he would be doing a lot of research work and writing a lot of papers, on that day, generally after some time he would get up and he would go for a brisk walk and come back. So in the evening time, he thought, let me just go for a walk up to the park and come back. So he went up to the park and came back after half an hour. He came back. But when he came back, he got a shock to see. There was a candle in the top of the table. His dog, Jimmy dog, had toppled it. And all the research papers, this much thick papers, they were all burnt to ashes. He saw them ablaze. When he came, he tried to put out the fire, but most of the papers were finished. Now he looked at the dog. He was extremely angry. And the dog was asking, like, what does the dog know? He doesn't know what he has done. He could have taken the gun and shot the dog if he wanted, which he didn't do. He looked at the dog and said, Jimmy, you may not understand how much loss you have created for me today. So many years of my research, you have burnt it all to ashes. You're a foolish dog and I can't blame you because you don't know what you're doing. And he forgave the dog. Just see, because if you're in Sattva-guna, you can think, what earthly, good will I get by shooting a dog? By shooting a dog, am I going to get all the papers back? I'm not going to get. So he just tolerated it. Lord Krishna says in GITA also, one should not tolerate in provoking situations. So in Sattva-guna, you can think well and then act. Before you speak, you can think twice. In Rajoguna, you think partially and we act. In Tamoguna, no thinking, no acting. They are lazy, lethargic. So Sattva-guna is characterized by another animal like a cow. You all have seen a cow is a very calm animal. You have seen that. Now scientific research has proven that if somebody spends some time with the cow, caressing the cow on the neck, they say your Sattva-guna is increased by that. Because especially hyperactive people, such people are told that you spend some time with the cow, attending to the needs of the cow. So you will also become calm, cool, collected, and you will not, your mind will not race like that they have found. So these three gunas are explained. So I wanted to ask you a question. If you want to be a visionary leader in society, which guna you need? Tamaguna, Rajaguna, Sattva-guna? Any of you? Yeah? You understood the three gunas? Yeah. That you are sure. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, he said Sattva-guna. Any of you? Yeah. Actually, Tamaguna means no thinking, no acting. And Rajaguna means partial thinking and acting. That is correct. See, a Raja means Rajaguna. And Rishi or a Muni means Sattva-guna. So when you combine, like Lord Rama is guided by Vishwamitra. Like Dasharatha is guided by Vasishta. Chandragupta Maurya is guided by Chanakya. Shivaji Maharaj is guided by Samat Ramdas, Tukaram. So when a Raja is guided by a Rishi, then he is called Raja Rishi. You heard the word Raja Rishi? Yeah. That means Rajoguna guided by Sattva. He exactly captured that. Very good. What's your good name? So Rajan is guided by Rishi, that intelligence. So Raja Rishi means, Raja means Rajaguna. Raja goes by passion. It's like a flood. But when he combines it with Rishi, then it becomes like a dam. So the dam restricts the passion of the king and guides that passion by designing it, how it should be. So for example, Lakshman, Lord Rama called Lakshman and said, Lakshman, this monkey Sugriva has become very forgetful. After the 4 months of Chaturmas, rainy season, he told me that he will help me to find out Sita, where she is. Now 4 months have passed, 20 more days have passed, the sun is hot, the autumn season has started, and the land is crisp, there is no more water anywhere. What is this monkey doing? He asked. And Lakshman said, my lord, I will go immediately and I will kill him, finish him and come back, he said. Then Lord Ram said, you see, if you kill him, then how will the work of finding Sita happen? Then Lakshman thought, yeah, that is not a good question. Lakshman thought. Then Ram said, don't kill him. The mistake he is committing is circumstantial. Because he has become a king now, he is attached to his post and enjoyments. So you can forgive him and bring him to sanity and ask him to engage in the service, of finding out Sita. And Lakshman precisely did that. That means you can see Lakshman is thinking from a very Rajoguna point of view. But Lord Rama added Sattva to that. Because Lord Rama made him think about the consequence of his action. So all of us in our life, we should think about the consequence. One day, one husband came from the office in the evening. The wife asked the husband, morning I told you to bring this, did you bring it with you when you came? She asked. Husband said, what? I don't think you told me anything in the morning. She said, you were standing near the door and you were on the phone. I repeatedly came and told you, I told in your ears loudly, I came in front of you and I told you, don't you remember? Husband says, oh, I remember everything. You were standing, I was standing here. But you didn't tell me anything to bring. If he says. So she says, I told you to bring. And he says, you never told me to bring. Now you both of them continue arguing. They may be arguing for 1 hour also. And it is going to be a never-ending argument. So how can that problem be resolved? Let us hear from any of you. Maybe some Matajis can answer, some Prabhujis can answer. Any of you. You heard my question? Yeah. Who can repeat my question briefly? Anybody can repeat my question? You understood my question? Yes. What did I ask? What was the question?
The question is, means wife has told something when he was talking in phone. But she is repeatedly telling, and
I told you to bring in the morning, and
uh,
evening has come with empty hands. He didn't bring it.
yes,
So she's
he
very
didn't
upset.
bring.
But what he says, you
He
never
said-
told me. Yeah, he
Yes,
says that you never told me. He says.
Yes.
She says I told you.
Yes.
And they both are having a heated argument in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the end result of this, or what is the solution? That's the question.
Solution is, maybe you may have told, I didn't listen. Sorry.
Yeah, all of you an applause. He's a very noble husband. Huh? Yeah. Actually, even if she didn't tell him also, if he spoke like this, the quarrel comes here. Maybe she told, maybe she didn't tell. But if he says that, because his goal is not to prove himself. His goal is to continue the sweet relationship. Which is more important? Proving is important or relationship is important? So that means you are thinking before you speak. You are thinking before acting. But some people will say that, why should I bow down? Why should I submit? If I never heard her say something, I should stand to my argument. Okay, you have to argue, she argues. So everybody in this world is in a proving mode. Nobody is in an improving mode. Everybody wants to prove. So, in this way, whatever I am telling you now, these three gunas, Lord Krishna explains very elaborately in the Gita. It's very helpful to understand that Raja Rishi means your passion has to be guided by goodness, then you are a noble visionary leader. Yeah. Because Rajas has got some amount of, the Tamoguna is called as a veiling energy. Veiling means it covers your knowledge. And Rajaguna is called as a projecting energy. It just projects out. And Sattva is called as a revealing energy. It reveals the truth. So when the truth will be real, see, when your truth is revealed to you, when your mind is more open. Like he has an open mind. What's your good name? Swami? Swami Naidu. Because he has a blossomed mind, open mind, he is able to come up with an answer, brilliant answer he came up with. So now, like parachute functions better when it is closed than when it is open. When it is open. So the mind is like a parachute. When it is more open, it can function better. So we have to think before we speak. We have to think before we act. So Arjuna was not able to think in the beginning of Gita. He was weeping. But Krishna taught him the whole Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna, think about the reality of life. The first thing I'm telling you, you are not the body, you are the soul. The soul never dies. Neither will you die, nor all these kings will not die. Everybody will be alive. The soul cannot be cut by Nainam Chindanti Shastrani, Nainam Dahati Pavakaha, Nathainam Vedayantyapo, Nashoshayati Marutaha. He's telling the soul cannot be cut by any weapon, it cannot be burned by fire, marched in the water. And so that is the soul, that you are the soul. And you have a mind and the body covering you. And your weeping is because your mind has got many impurities stored in it, which is making you cry. Just like in a computer program, you have to debug the program, isn't it? Similarly, in the hard disk of our mind, there are many thoughts, like we have thoughts of anger, hatred, and revengeful thoughts, and greed, and lust, and envy, and all those things. So that has to be cleansed. The good news about our mind is, even if your mind is impure, it is cleanable, washable. It can be made pure. It's possible. Just like, imagine if any of us came into this room with a socks, which is stinking socks, for example. Everybody may say, hey, you are stinking, get out. You are not stinking, your socks is stinking. You are a good person. If you remove the socks outside, wash your feet and come, then nobody will mind it, isn't it? Similarly, the soul is always good, but the soul is covered by mind, which has impurity. And because of that impurity, we hate some people. We don't like. But once the impure mind is washed and cleaned, made into a pure mind, then we will all behave like angels. So the goal of our spiritual movement, our ISKCON society, is to actually help people, have a clean mind and lead a happy life. So most people actually are hurting one another in this world. And that's because, imagine if two people, X and Y, they're coming with impure minds. And he tries to exploit and he tries to exploit. So when two people are in the exploiting mode, they can't be happy in this world. That's the main reason for suffering. Everybody is suffering in this world. So, but when our mind is clean, we will naturally love God, serve Him, and we see all living beings as His children, and we have no enemies in this world. So that is the teaching of Gita. Gita teaches us to cleanse the mind. Arjuna asked the question to Krishna, how to cleanse the mind? What can be done? So Krishna says two things. Abhyasena tu kaunteya, vairagyena tu dhyate. So I will conclude with this point and then we can discuss something. Krishna told, learned is two techniques. Feeding and fencing technique. These are the two things he taught. Say, for example, you have a plant. What are the things you will feed to the plant if you see? You will feed water to the plant. Then only plant can grow. You will put manure in the plant, say gobar or something like that, cow dung. You will put in order to catalyze this thing. And you may also feed sunlight to the plant because plant requires sunlight, heat and light of the sun, water. It requires manure and all that you will feed. Then what are the ways you will fence the plant from? If a wind is blowing, you will make sure that wind doesn't damage the plant. And you will also put a fence around the plant so that, goats and all will not come and put their mouth. You will fence it also from other creatures like that. So you feed the plant and you fence the plant. Similarly, every one of you sitting here, we are all like plants, which is a growing plant. We all want to grow in life, become better. So we have to feed good things to us, and then, so what things we should feed? We should feed that which will strengthen you, which will be positive, which will be purifying, which will be elevating, which will be strengthening, which will give you confidence, correct, no? Those things have to be fed. And what should be fenced? You should fence yourself from negative things, things which putrefy you or make you impure, things which weaken you, things which degrade you, but keep away. So now what to feed and what to fence? So like Krishna says that the thing that we should feed, the most important thing is a sound vibration. Two types of sound vibration. One is the hearing of the Bhagavad Gita message, like you all are hearing today. And the sound vibration of the Namam. Like we have this Japamala. Yajnanam Japa Yajñosmi, Krishna says. The Japamala chant. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And the next morning, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Third morning, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So in this way, if you chant 108 manis one by one slowly, it takes you only about 10-12 minutes. It takes you. Any time of the day you can chant. Morning, afternoon, evening, night. There is no time restriction for this. And you can chant in any place also. This type of chanting is very, very calming to the mind. It's calming and purifying also. One time in America, I saw in the airport, there was a board put up there, prayer room. I was amazed. How is it that even in an airport they have a prayer room? The first time I saw that board. Then I thought maybe I can go inside that room and offer a prayer. So when I went in, I saw there was a Muslim sitting, kneeling down, and he was also having a japamala like this, but it was having a glossy one, a glass japamala. And he was also chanting like this. And next to him, a Christian was sitting, and he had another mala with him. And he was chanting Hail Mary. He was also chanting. Then I also sat next to him. I chanted Hare Krishna. So one thing became clear to me on that day. Every religion teaches us to chant. Like, the Sikh people, they say, there's one song which says, Kojat vicharyo das govind parayana avinashi kamchaho jinanak sada sumiran narayana. He's saying, always remember Narayana's name. Like that he says. So every religion talks about chanting God's names because by chanting God's name, you evoke His power. It descends in your body and mind. When His power comes into your body, then it purifies the mind. It cleanses the mind. It calms the mind. It purifies the mind. So in this way, the chanting of the holy name, see, there is a saying in English, prayer is the difference between what you can do and what God can do, it is said. Prayer is the difference between what you can do and what God can do. Like if you, with all your efforts, all your might, you can do this much. If you add prayer, then you can do this much. You get additional Shakti. Just like you see Hanuman, before jumping to Lanka, he offered a prayer to Lord Rama and to his guru Surya. And he also offered a prayer to his father Vayu. And then he took a giant leap and he went to Lanka. You'll see that. So because he became blessed and empowered by the great souls. You'll see that. In the same manner, this kind of japam is one sound vibration we should hear. Daily we should hear. One mala if you do, it takes you 10 minutes. If you can do in the morning or evening, any time of the day, you can do it. So this is one sound which is called feeding to the soul, food for the soul. Second food for the soul is regular study of Bhagavad Gita. Daily 1 page a day. See, 1 page a day will take you 5 minutes. And Deepak can provide you all a copy, correct, no? Yeah, he can provide you a copy. So keep a copy of Gita with you in the puja room. Daily just open it and read 1 page a day. 1 page of Gita, 5 minutes, and 10 minutes of this Nama Japam. 15 minutes out of 24 hours God has given you. How many of you think 15 minutes is not a big deal, sir? I can give. How many of you feel? Can raise your hand? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. All of you, correct? Correct, no? Small amount of time. 1 page of Gita and 1 round of Hare Krishna. You can do that. I am giving you some call for action. Very practical. Very easy to apply. Correct, no? So, in this way, this is called as Abhyas. Abhyas means right from the, Lord Krishna says that the medicine for the soul or the food for the soul is these 2 sound vibrations. Sound vibration of Gita and sound vibration of the chanting Nama Japa. And how do you fence it? He says, fence it from wrong inputs, I told you. The kind of books you read, movies you watch, friendships you keep, You can avoid bad inputs, which you all know. Things which degrade us. We should awaken the angel within us, not the animal within us. There are certain things which will bring out the animal within us. For example, now there is a Wi-Fi, internet freely available. People are watching many bad videos. That is bringing the animal out of us. Correct, no? But if you want to bring the angel out of us, then we have to feed Bhagavad Gita and chanting. So, in the same manner, the kind of books we read, the movies we watch, the friendships we keep, So these are things, and also the scriptures say 4 activities are sinful activities, or they are prohibited in the scriptures. If anybody who indulges in this, they will be making their minds more negative. So, like for example, it says illicit sex. Illicit sex means sex outside marriage or sex before marriage. Nowadays, many of the college students, they don't know this rule. Even before marriage, they indulge with many members of the opposite sex. So then they become like cats and dogs. You can see that they have no culture. And therefore, then they become polluted and degraded by this. Secondly, no unnecessary killing of innocent creatures. Like, for example, killing a goat or a chicken or a cow. One should not kill them unnecessarily. Thirdly, no form of intoxication, like smoking, drinking, drugs. One should avoid all this. And fourthly, no gambling. One can earn money by honorable means, but one should not gamble and try to make quick money. So these 4 are mind disturbers, he says, these 4 things. Like today you all learned about Satoguna, Rajoguna, Samaguna. Animal product is actually a combination of Rajoguna and Samaguna. Why? Because the animal, when you go to kill it, the animal is afraid. And then when you are really going to kill it, it becomes very violent towards you also. So it's a product of violence. Violence means Rajoguna and fear means Tamaguna. It's a combination of violence. So adrenaline secretes when you kill the animal. Then that goes into our system and then we also become like that. So if we want to be in Sattva, then we should eat pure vegetarian. And that too, if it is offered to Lord and then taken, that is even more best. Prasadam, we call it. So these 4 things are prohibited activities which should be given up. Then these are fencing. So I told you, Krishna says, Abhyasena tu kaunte, vairagyena churti. You should feed the soul and fence the soul. These are the 2 things he says. So now I wanted a summary of what we did today. Each of you can recollect some point from the class, whatever you remember very nicely, which you liked and you are going to carry home with you. Any of you? We don't have to go in order. We can, whoever is willing to, can give them the mic, yeah.
In the very beginning, the the description of mind, soul, and intelligence. This is something which really struck me,
Correct.
because I never had this kind of explanation and experience that this can be looked into in this fashion, in this manner, and because I now personally feel that it gives a different kind of dimension.
Correct.
How I look
Yeah.
about mind, soul, and intelligence, and
Correct.
how these three are interrelated, and how
Yeah.
these three can be controlled,
Exactly.
and which is the topmost layer and which is the lowermost layer, and how what is the relationship between all this. So
Correct.
this is something which I really found very interesting.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Very nice.
For me, like the being aware of the three gunas and like trying to bring them into our behavior and like trying to control the gunas in ourselves through actions and through our actions. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
So, in continuation with him, like my schooling was from Ramakrishna Mission, and we had this Bhagavad Gita. And
Oh,
Indian
you already
culture.
learned something.
Yeah, some basic learning of Bhagavad Gita was there, and these three gunas, we like. Yes, that is again a nice revisit to that, and it will be really good to incorporate that part in your life.
If you are reading Bhagavad Gita 14, 15, 16, 17 chapters, if you read, you will learn a lot about it.
Yes.
I was just scratching on the surface now. Little bit I spoke.
Yes.
But when we go in that, it gives us detailed explanation. A lot of valuable pointers are given to us.
Mm.
What if you do those things, you really blossom in your personality very much. And therefore, the Bhagavad Gita is considered like a guidebook for many great leaders.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So I was having some anger issues, so I learned about the three gunas and improve the sattva quality. So chanting and reading books and these two things.
Thank you.
So the example what you have given, that chariot, that senses are like horses, and the roots are mind and intelligence and soul. Like, so that is very effective,
Yes.
and I was able to relate that what are the human qualities and how we have to control those things. They are very important.
Okay. Many of you have appreciated the analogy of the intelligence and the mind and the senses. Very good. So, any examples you remember? Yeah. Okay. Thank you for coming. Okay. 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 Thank you for coming. Thank you. And they will continue those programs. You can continue joining. Thank you. There's a prasad for them, no? Thank you. Thank you for coming, sir. Thank you. You have some sweet? You can start giving now. Yeah. You have a plate, you can start serving them. Yeah.
I sometimes feel that the continuum which is there from a childhood till today, it is me, man.
Yeah, that is you.
And body is
Changing. Body is changing.
But is there any way to actually visualize or see this duality, that this is soul and this is body? How it can be done?
That is very easy. As you chant Hare Krishna, for example, and read Bhagavad Gita, as the progress happens, just like in a coconut, if you see, the inside shell withdraws itself. And what you call cobra, we call it, no, cobra. So like that, the soul also with advancement in spiritual life, gradually you withdraw yourself and you'll clearly see that I am like a driver seated in a car. I'm different from the car. I'm not the car. Or I'm like a bird in a cage. I am trapped in this bodily cage. I have to get out of it. One can visibly see that with the years of practice. Yeah. At the beginning, we learn it. It's theoretical for us in the beginning. And then, because in the beginning, people don't know the difference between body, mind, intelligence, soul, and all that. They don't know. Gradually, when you scientifically learn from the Bhagavad Gita, you understand that the soul is covered by a mind and body, and the mind is a menace. Mind is a problem creator because of the impurities. It's like, therefore I gave the 3-colored glass I told you. But mind is cleanable. So by chanting Hare Krishna and by reading Gita, the mind gradually starts getting purified. Because you're giving pure inputs. As the pure inputs increase more and more, then the impure inputs are ousted. They are driven out like that. And the purer the mind becomes, the clearer the vision also becomes. Like, for example, if these spectacles I am wearing, if it is opaque, I can't see. But it's opaque because of the dirt. If I take a wet cloth and I wipe it, now it is clean now. Now I can see things as they are. That's how the perception becomes enhanced by chanting and the study becomes. So they do some programs. Achita Manpu is here, the one who is sitting there. He is the president of our ISKCON chapter in Varanasi here. So he takes very, very wonderful classes. He has been traveling to different parts of the country. But his base is here only. Is it in the temple? Oh, you came to the temple. Oh, you came to temple. Okay. Oh. Yeah, you took prasad? You took? Okay, thank you. What's your name? Ameya. Nice meeting you. Thank you. So, you all are welcome to temple. You can come with your families. You can visit. So, you can serve the prasad. You can give. They are ready? Just give them. Because it got a little late for them. Right? Yeah. Yeah? Yeah. But they can take prasad. You give them. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, spoon also, yeah.
So we would come to the end of the session. So we would like to thank His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu for giving such an enlightening class on Bhagavad Gita. And I hope we learnt a lot. And we'll request him to come again and again and give us these enlightening classes.